When my phone buzzed that morning, I thought it was just another message from work, not the beginning of my nightmare. The sun was gentle through the blinds, but my house felt too quiet, too clean, almost lifeless. It had been a year since Mark left. Sometimes I still caught myself setting 2 plates at breakfast before realizing no one was coming back to fill the other chair. My son was due to visit from college in a few days, and I wanted the place to look perfect for him. The kitchen counters were spotless, yet I kept scrubbing as if the ache inside me could be erased with bleach and lemon. But no matter how much I cleaned, the silence clung to the walls. So when I saw the ad from a local cleaning agency, discreet, reliable, background checked, I told myself it was just help. Just one day. I didn't need company. I needed control. When I called, a calm woman confirmed a new hire could come that morning. Her name was Elena. She'd been with them for 3 months. Apparently, thorough and respectful. That word, respectful, struck me. I hadn't heard it in a long time. By 10, the doorbell rang. Elena was younger than I expected. Late 20s, maybe. She had steady brown eyes and a quiet voice that carried confidence, not chatter. "You must be Mrs. Whitmore," she said, stepping inside. "Clara's fine," I replied. "The agency told you what to do?" She nodded. "Yes, just the basics. I'll start upstairs if that's okay." As she walked in, I noticed her glancing around like she was memorizing the space. Her gaze lingered on the family photos on the mantel, on the corners of the living room, on the door that led to my study. "You have such a peaceful house," she said softly. I tried to smile. It hasn't felt peaceful in a long time. Her eyes flickered toward me, too understanding, too quick. Then she smiled back, polite and distant. I went over the basics. Cleaning supplies under the sink, spare towels in the linen closet, the alarm code. She wrote everything down neatly, almost military in her precision. As I handed her the spare keys, she hesitated. "You'll be gone long?" "Just a few errands. Groceries mostly," I said. "I'll be back by 2. "Okay," she murmured, but something in her tone made me pause. When I picked up my purse, she looked toward the hallway and frowned. "Did someone come by earlier?" she asked. "No, why?" She hesitated. "It's nothing. I just thought—" "Never mind. It feels like someone's been here recently." A chill touched my spine. I forced a laugh. "Probably just me. I'm forgetful these days." Elena didn't argue, but she didn't look convinced either. Before leaving, I double-checked the locks, front door, back door, windows, and told myself I was being paranoid. After all, it wasn't the first time I'd felt watched since Mark left. Divorce makes you question your own shadow. The drive to the store was quiet, but my mind wasn't. I kept replaying Elena's words. "Someone's been here." What did she mean by that? Was she just sensitive to dust, to footprints, to energy? Or was there something she actually saw? I shook it off. I'd always been too quick to read into things. The cashier's smile, the neighbor's stare, it all used to feel like judgment. Now it just felt like distance. I bought fresh flowers for the dining table, thinking they might bring life back into the house. Maybe my son would see them and think I was doing fine, that I wasn't lonely, that I was stronger than I felt. As I pushed the cart through the parking lot, my phone buzzed. I glanced down, expecting a text from him, but it wasn't. "Elena? Incoming call." I frowned and answered. "Hey, did you find the Polish under the sink?" There was silence. Then a faint, shaky whisper. "Mrs. Whitmore." Her voice cracked. "There's someone in your house." My breath caught. "What?" She spoke faster, barely audible. "I heard the back door. I thought it was the wind, but there's someone here." My heart pounded so hard I could barely hear her words. "Elena, are you sure?" The alarm was on. "It isn't now," she whispered. "Please, what do I do?" I froze beside my car, gripping my phone so tight my knuckles burned. My first instinct was disbelief. Maybe she tripped the alarm by mistake. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. But something in her tone, it wasn't acting. It was fear. "Listen to me," I said, my voice trembling. "Go somewhere safe. The neighbor's yard, anywhere. Just get out." "I can't," she breathed. "He's in the hallway." I heard a faint creak through the phone, like a step on my wooden floor. "Elena?" I whispered. "Stay quiet. Don't." The line went dead, and in the silence that followed, all I could hear was my own heartbeat and the echo of her last words. "There's someone in your house." Elena's voice was trembling, like she was watching something she shouldn't. I sat frozen in my car, the grocery bag still in my lap, raindrops splattering against the windshield in thick, nervous rhythms. My breath came shallow. The world outside blurred into streaks of gray. "Elena," I whispered, pressing my phone tighter to my ear. "Tell me what's happening." Her breathing came fast and uneven. He's inside," she said. "I heard the back door open. I thought maybe it was you, but he's walking around. He's in your study." The words hit like ice water. My study. That was where I kept old files from Mark's company, papers I never threw out because I didn't know what was still important. "Elena, listen to me," I said, trying to sound calm. "Stay hidden. Don't make a sound. Tell me what you see." "I can't see him now," she whispered. "But I can hear him. He's moving things, opening drawers." The phone crackled, her voice breaking through static. I turned the car key with shaking hands and backed out of the parking spot, heart hammering. "Elena, can you get out through the front door?" I asked. "No, it's too close. He'll hear me." Her whisper was so faint I had to strain to catch it over the storm. Then came a low creak, the sound of a hinge turning. "Elena?" Silence. I pulled over at the edge of the parking lot, forcing myself to think. My house wasn't far, 15 minutes at most, but I couldn't just burst in. I needed help. I opened the home security app on my phone. The screen stayed blank. Camera offline. The same message blinked under every feed. My stomach twisted. They had been fine yesterday morning. Why would they suddenly go offline? My hand shook as I switched to saved footage from the last working day. The timestamp showed 6:42 p.m. yesterday evening. I scrolled back and froze. A black SUV was parked across the street, the same one I'd seen weeks ago when I thought someone was watching me from the corner. It hadn't moved for nearly 2 hours. That couldn't be coincidence. "Elena," I whispered again into the phone. "You have to tell me if he's still there," the line hissed. Then her voice, barely a breath. "He's standing by your desk." I swallowed hard. "Don't move. The police will handle it." I dialed 911 with my free hand. My voice came out cracked. "This is Clara Whitmore. My cleaner's in my house. Someone broke in. She's hiding inside." The dispatcher's tone was firm. "Ma'am, stay where you are. Officers are on their way. Do not approach the house." "But she's still inside." "We understand, but it's dangerous. Please stay in your vehicle. Stay outside." Easy for them to say. Rain slammed harder against the windshield. The wipers couldn't keep up. Every second felt like a lifetime. "Elena," I said softly, "help is coming. Just breathe." I think he's leaving the study," she whispered. "He's going toward the kitchen." My throat tightened. That was the back of the house, near the patio. "Go toward the stairs," I told her. "Lock yourself in a room if you can." But then I heard something on the line. A faint thump, followed by slow, deliberate footsteps. "Clara," she breathed, her voice trembling. "He's not leaving. He's looking for something." "What is he doing?" I asked, gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers hurt. He opened the cabinet by the wall. He's holding your wedding photo." My heart twisted. That photo had no reason to be in the study. I'd kept it in a drawer months ago, hidden away from sight. Whoever this man was, he knew exactly where to look. "Elena, stay down," I said. "He might not see you." Her breath hitched. "He's turning toward the closet." "Elena." The call cut out for a moment, then came back with only static. I shouted her name, over and over, but all I could hear was the faint hum of interference and my own pulse pounding in my ears. I slammed my foot on the accelerator, tires splashing through puddles as I sped toward home. My vision tunneled, every sound sharper, louder. By the time I turned onto Maplewood Drive, my hands were slick with sweat. Come on," I muttered, watching the road blur under the rain. I dialed 911 again, shouting the address through tears. "Ma'am, officers are close," the dispatcher said. "Do not go inside until they arrive." But I couldn't wait. Not if Elena was still in there. As I neared the corner of my street, the house came into view through the rain. Dark, silent, and wrong. The curtains in my study window were moving slightly, like someone had just brushed past them. I clutched my phone. "Elena, pick up. Please pick up." No answer. Then, through the static, a sound burst through the speaker. One single, piercing scream. "Elena!" I shouted, but the line went dead again. And as the silence swallowed me whole, I realized I was only 2 blocks from home. When I turned the corner, my front door was wide open. Red and blue lights pulsed across the wet pavement as I pulled up to the curb. The air smelled like rain and panic. Neighbors stood outside in their robes, whispering, faces pale in the flashing light. My home, once immaculate, looked violated. The door hung crooked on its hinges. I stepped out, heart pounding so loudly it drowned out the murmur of the crowd. "Mrs. Whitmore?" a uniformed officer called, motioning me forward. "We got your call." Inside, my living room was chaos. Cushions thrown, Drawers open, lamps knocked over, but something about it felt deliberate, not ransacked, arranged, like someone wanted me to see what they'd touched. "Elena," I called, my voice echoing through the hall. No reply, only the hum of the police radios and the faint squeak of wet boots on tile. I followed an officer into the kitchen. Her cleaning supplies sat neatly beside the counter. Bucket, gloves, the blue cloth she always used. My throat tightened. "She wouldn't just leave this here," I said quietly. "Your cleaner?" the officer asked, glancing around. "Yes, Elena. She called me when—" I stopped. The words tangled. The fear came rushing back. She said someone was inside. The detective on scene, a tall man with tired eyes, looked up from his notepad. "No signs of forced entry, ma'am. All windows locked except one. Your study window latch is broken, but from the inside. You sure you didn't leave it open?" "I didn't," I said, sharper than I meant to. "She was here. She was scared." He exchanged a glance with his partner. "Nothing appears stolen," he continued, flipping through his notes. "But one thing stands out. There's a photo missing from a frame in your study." I froze. "Which photo?" He pointed toward the wall, where a pale rectangle of dust marked what used to hang there. "Your wedding picture, right? The frame's on the desk." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. That photo had been hidden in the drawer. I hadn't looked at it in months. "Who would take that?" I whispered. The detective shrugged. "Maybe someone sentimental. Maybe a prank. We'll dust for prints." I moved to the study while they worked. The scent of rain drifted through the cracked window. On the floor, faint muddy footprints led from the desk to the back door. The prints were small, barely larger than my own, but they stopped abruptly at the rug, like whoever made them vanished mid-step. Something fluttered on the desk. A folded note. I reached for it with trembling hands. The handwriting was slanted, rushed. "You should have listened." The room tilted. My breath came short. "Detective," I called, but when he entered, the note slipped from my hand to the floor. He picked it up, eyebrows raised. "You recognize the handwriting?" I hesitated. "No," I lied, because part of me wasn't sure if I did, or if I just didn't want to believe it. The questioning dragged on. Every answer I gave seemed to make them doubt me more. "So, to be clear," the detective said, "you received a call from your cleaner, claiming someone was in the house. You arrived, door open, but no one's here. No struggle, no theft, just a missing photo and a note." I clenched my jaw. Elena wouldn't make this up. Something happened to her. He scribbled something in his pad. Maybe she got scared and ran off. "We'll follow up with the agency. She wouldn't just vanish," I snapped. My voice echoed through the ruined room. He sighed. "We'll keep you updated, ma'am. Try to get some rest." When they left, the silence closed in again, thick, oppressive. I wandered the house, fingers brushing over broken glass and overturned chairs. Everything felt wrong, hollow. That photo, that note, the muddy trail. None of it made sense. I locked the door and checked each window twice before finally sitting on the couch. The police tape fluttered faintly outside, catching the glow of the streetlight. For a moment, I thought I saw movement through the curtains, a flicker of shadow in the yard, but when I looked closer, it was gone. The clock struck midnight. My phone buzzed against the coffee table. An unknown number. I stared at it for a moment before swiping to open the message. "Stop digging. You're not alone." The phone slipped from my hand and hit the floor. My chest tightened as I looked around the darkened room. And then, somewhere in the house, I heard a soft, deliberate click, like a door closing. The message came from a number I used to know, my ex-husband's old burner phone. The glow from my phone screen cast a cold light across the dark living room. The clock read 2:13 a.m. Rain tapped against the window, soft but relentless, like it was whispering secrets I wasn't ready to hear. I stared at the message again. "Stop digging. You're not alone." The same words that had arrived hours ago, but now I knew the number. I recognized it instantly, even though I hadn't seen it in years. Mark's burner phone, the one he used when everything fell apart. I sank deeper into the couch, the shadows around me stretching long and still. My mind scrambled through memories I thought I'd buried. Mark's late-night calls, the lies about the company, the day the police came for him, the fraud investigation, the missing accounts, the morning he vanished. He was supposed to be gone forever. I opened our old text thread, scrolling past half-arguments and desperate apologies, until I reached the last message he ever sent. "You'll regret this, Clara. You always do." The chill that rolled through me was different this time. Not fear, recognition. If Mark was back, then everything about the break-in wasn't random. It was personal. I stood, crossing to the study. The police had left everything. In disarray, evidence dust still clinging to surfaces like frost. I scanned the room slowly, my fingers brushing the edge of the desk. The drawer where I used to keep our joint bank documents was slightly open. I hadn't noticed it before. I crouched down, heart drumming. Inside, the folder that had held Mark's financial records was gone. Not misplaced. Gone. The breath left my lungs. There had been copies of his fraudulent transfers, printouts of accounts tied to his offshore shell company, notes from my lawyer, the kind of proof that could destroy him if it ever resurfaced. And now it had vanished. I closed the drawer carefully, the wood groaning in protest. My gaze drifted to the floor where the muddy footprints had been. The officers had tried to photograph them, but one detail now burned in my mind. The shape of the tread. I knew it. I'd seen it before. Mark's boots. The heavy work pair he refused to throw out, even when the soles began to peel. No, I whispered to myself. It can't be him. But every part of the house screamed otherwise. I dialed my lawyer, Ellen, my hands trembling as I tried to sound steady. She answered on the second ring, voice thick with sleep. Clara? It's 2 a.m. I think Mark's back, I said flatly. That woke her up fast. What do you mean back? He's been here. The files from the fraud case, gone. The message came from his old number. I don't know how, but it's him. A beat of silence. Then, if he's back, he's desperate. You need to be careful. I closed my eyes. Then he's dangerous. Ellen's voice dropped to a whisper. Don't confront him. Don't respond to that message. Let me call the detective first thing in the morning. Already did, I said. They think I'm overreacting. Then keep everything documented. Every call, every message. Don't stay alone tonight. I'll be fine. The lie rolled off my tongue before I could stop it. I had no intention of leaving. After we hung up, I sent a short-coded text to the detective I trusted most. Harper. Something missing from the study. Suspect it's personal. Call tomorrow. No reply. But I saw the little read icon blink on. The rest of the house felt like it was holding its breath. I checked each window again, each lock, then sat back on the couch with the phone still in my hand. I didn't notice the time slipping by until the rain stopped and the silence became too loud. My mind spiraled through every memory of Mark, the way he used to whisper plans to fix everything, the grin that could charm investors and ruin lives. The moment I found out he'd used my name to launder money, he'd vanished 2 years ago, supposedly leaving the country under a fake passport. But what if he never left? I stood abruptly and pulled open the curtains. The backyard was cloaked in mist, the tree line dark and still. My reflection looked back at me, pale, hollow-eyed, someone I barely recognized. The phone buzzed again, and I jumped. Unknown caller. I hesitated, then answered. Hello? For a moment, nothing but static. Then, soft breathing. Who is this? More static. And then, so faint I almost missed it. Clara. Elena? My chest tightened. Where are you? Are you okay? Her voice cracked with fear. You have to listen. He's watching your house. From the woods. The line went dead. I stood there, frozen, the phone still pressed to my ear. Then, just beyond the window, something moved between the trees. A shadow, deliberate and human. And this time, I knew it wasn't my imagination. I decided to stop being scared. If Mark wanted something, he'd find me ready. The house was dark, except for one soft pool of light spilling from the lamp beside the couch. Every other bulb stayed off, every curtain drawn tight. I moved quietly, barefoot, the glow from my phone guiding me through the silence. I wasn't running anymore. Not this time. The night before, I'd stared out that same window, watching the woods breathe with movement I couldn't explain. Tonight, I would see him first. On the coffee table lay my plan, a small network of hidden cameras I'd picked up from the hardware store, the kind people use to check on babysitters or dogs. Cheap, simple, enough to catch whoever thought they could haunt me. I positioned one in the hallway, another near the back door, and a third tucked into a bookshelf in the study, the room he always targeted. When I was done, I sat on the couch, opening my phone's recording app. You want to play games, Mark? I whispered, voice steady. Let's play. Outside, the wind dragged branches against the windows like fingernails. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked and then went silent. I checked my messages. Nothing from the police. But there was one from Elena. I can't come back there. Please don't ask me to, I typed fast. Did you see him again? No reply for a full minute. Then, I took this tonight. He's outside. The photo came through blurry but unmistakable. A man in a dark hoodie standing half shrouded by the trees. Even through the grain I could see what he was holding. My wedding photo. The one stolen from my study. My throat went dry. I zoomed in. The timestamp said 10:41 p.m. That was now. I glanced at the clock on the wall. 10:43. He's here, I breathed. My pulse thudded in my ears. I muted my phone and slipped it under the pillow beside me. The cameras were live. The red indicators blinked faintly, recording every shadow. I adjusted the blanket around me, forcing my breathing to slow, pretending to sleep. Every sound became sharper. The creak of old wood, the low hum of the refrigerator, the distant rumble of a car passing by. I closed my eyes halfway, letting them flicker toward the door. Minutes dragged. I told myself he wanted to scare me, not hurt me. That Mark always liked control more than violence. But the thought did nothing to calm the electricity crawling beneath my skin. Then, faintly, a noise, a soft rustle from the back door. I froze. The sound came again, closer this time. A click, metal on metal. He was unlocking it. My stomach clenched. I'd locked that door myself twice. Whoever was out there had my old key, or made a copy. The air in the room thickened as I heard the hinges groan. The door creaked open, the sound slicing through the dark like a blade. I forced myself to stay still. The couch dipped slightly as I shifted to grab the phone under the pillow, thumb hovering over the record button. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, crossed the hardwood floor. The figure stopped near the threshold of the living room. I could smell the damp fabric of his hoodie, the faint metallic scent of rain-soaked earth. My phone screen reflected just enough light to catch a glimpse of movement. A hand, my photo, and then his voice, calm and familiar, whispering into the dark. You should have left it all buried. Every hair on my arm stood on end. I turned my head slightly, enough to see his silhouette, a man I once shared a life with. Now, nothing but a ghost carved out of regret. My fear hardened into something colder. The cameras were rolling. The phone was live, and Mark had just walked right into his own trap. He stepped out of the shadows like he'd never left. Mark's face was thinner, sharper, haunted by years of hiding. The hood slid back, and I saw the same eyes that once swore love, now cold and calculating. My pulse hammered in my throat, but I didn't move. The air felt too heavy to breathe. He smiled, small, bitter. You look good, Clara, comfortable. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Breaking into my house isn't exactly the way to say hello. He shrugged, stepping closer. You have something that belongs to me. I don't keep anything of yours anymore. Oh, but you do. His gaze flicked toward the study. The flash drive. The one that could ruin me. The sound of those words cracked the silence between us. The flash drive. He still thought it was in the desk, in that hidden drawer he once used to stash his lies. I stayed still, the blanket still around me, pretending calm. You mean the same drive you used to cheat your investors? The one the FBI never found? His jaw tightened. You don't understand. They were going to destroy me. I just needed time to fix it. You ran, I said quietly. You left your son, your life, and you dragged me through hell to cover your crimes. Mark's expression flickered between guilt and rage. You wouldn't have survived without me. You think this house, this life, you earned it? It's all mine, Clara. He took another step. I could see the vein pulsing at his temple, the tremor in his hand. Somewhere deep inside, fear tried to rise again, but I swallowed it down. I needed to keep him talking. You used Elena, I said softly. Didn't you? He paused. The smallest hesitation, but enough. I didn't use her, he said. I needed to know if you still had it. She was supposed to get in, check the study, and leave. But she panicked. My breath caught. You made her believe someone was inside the house. He smirked. You always were too trusting. You hire a stranger, and she tells you ghosts are walking around. You believed her. Anger burned through my chest, steady and hot. You terrified her. You terrified me. He stepped even closer now, lowering his voice. Give me the drive and we can both disappear again. I'll make it right this time. I met his eyes, unblinking. It's gone, Mark. I moved it. That stopped him. Where? Someplace safer than you'll ever reach. His nostrils flared. Don't lie to me. You've already taken everything else, I said. You don't get my piece too. He lunged, grabbing my wrist. I didn't fight back, just stared into his face, calm and deliberate. You're being recorded, I whispered. He froze. What? I nodded toward the lamp. Hidden cameras. Audio too. The police are listening. He laughed, harsh and desperate. You think they'll believe you? You think anyone cares what your sad little life looks like now? The sound of sirens cut through the night. Distant at first, then growing louder. His head jerked toward the window. I smiled. They care enough. Mark's grip loosened. You triggered an alarm. Quietly, I said. The moment you walked through my door. For the first time, I saw real fear in his eyes. You planned this. I learned from you, I said. Lie once, hide the truth twice, and people stop asking questions. He paced backward toward the door, eyes darting, mind racing for a way out. You don't know what you've done. Oh, I do, I said softly. I took back control. Red and blue lights flashed against the curtains. Boots pounded up the walkway. Mark turned back to me, fury breaking through his panic. You ruined me. No, I said, stepping closer, my voice steady now. You did that yourself. The door burst open. 2 officers stormed in, guns drawn, shouting commands. Mark raised his hands, muttering curses under his breath. They pinned him to the floor, cuffing him while I stood motionless, my heart still pounding in my ears. As they pulled him to his feet, he glanced back over his shoulder, eyes burning with something cold and final. You'll regret trusting her, he hissed. My stomach twisted. Who? But he didn't answer. The front door slammed behind them, leaving me alone in the echoing silence, his words lingering like smoke. You'll regret trusting her. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't over. The next morning, Elena didn't answer my calls. I tried again. And again. Each ring dragged through the silence like a blade across my nerves. By the 5th try, my hands were trembling. Outside, the flashing lights were gone. The police had wrapped up their investigation hours ago, leaving only yellow tape and the faint smell of disinfectant. My home felt empty, violated, but for the first time in weeks, I could breathe without fear, or so I thought. I wanted to thank Elena. After everything, she had been my one anchor, the only person who believed me. But now she was gone. I called the agency, the same one that had sent her weeks ago. A calm woman's voice answered, Good morning, Rosewood Cleaning Services. How may I assist you? Yes, hi, I said quickly. I'm looking for one of your employees. Elena. She's been working here for the past month. I just wanted to... Ma'am, could you repeat the name? Elena. She's tall, dark hair, quiet voice. She said she was assigned to me after the last cleaner quit. There was a pause. Then the voice on the other end changed. Cold, professional, slightly suspicious. I'm sorry, ma'am, but we have no record of an employee named Elena. In fact, we haven't serviced your address since early this year. My stomach twisted. That's impossible. She was here. She had your badge, your uniform, everything. I understand, ma'am, the woman said carefully. But according to our records, no one from our agency has been to your property in months. Then, click. The line went dead. I redialed, but this time the number rang once and dropped to static. I tried again. This number is no longer in service, the automated voice said. My relief evaporated, replaced by something colder, sharper. Who was she? I grabbed my phone and pulled up my call history. There, Elena's number. I tapped details. The digits looked real enough, but when I tried to search it online, there were no results. No business listings. No personal accounts. Nothing. It was like her number, and she had never existed. Detective Harris called later that afternoon. We went through the footage again, he said. You should come down and see something. At the station, he played the security video from my own camera, the one I thought had caught Elena entering the house on that first day. The timestamp was right. The door opened, but the woman who walked in wasn't Elena, it was me. I stared, frozen. The footage showed me carrying cleaning supplies, looking distracted but calm. My memory screamed that I hadn't done that. I remembered Elena standing in the doorway. I remembered her voice, her smell, her eyes. Maybe she wasn't helping you, the detective said quietly. Maybe she was warning you. I turned to him. Then who was she? He didn't answer. When I got home that night, the silence was unbearable. The air in the hallway felt heavier, thicker. Every shadow seemed to move when I wasn't looking directly at it. I sat at the kitchen table and scrolled through every message, every text I'd shared with Elena. But there was nothing. No chat history, no missed calls. The thread was gone. Deleted. I felt a pulse of panic. My phone slipped from my hand and clattered onto the tiles. I picked it up again. Desperate. Maybe voicemail. Yes, there had been one. The night before the police came, I hit play. Static hissed. Then her voice, faint, trembling. Clara. I froze. Don't trust anyone. He wasn't alone. And then silence. The message ended abruptly. For a long time, I sat there unable to move. The clock ticked once, twice, then. From the hallway, my door creaked open, just a fraction, and in the reflection of the glass cabinet, I thought I saw a shadow move behind me. I still leave one lamp on at night, just in case. The house looks the same as before. White curtains, polished floors, the faint scent of lavender drifting through the hall. But it feels quieter now. Not peaceful quiet, just waiting. Weeks have passed since Mark was taken away. The walls have been repainted, the broken door replaced, and the silence that used to feel threatening has turned strangely familiar. Clara moves through each room slowly, as if touching the memories that cling to the corners. She's trying to rebuild peace. The neighbors stopped whispering. The police stopped calling. Even Elena's mother came by once, eyes red but kind, saying she wanted to understand what happened. Clara could only tell her the truth, what little she knew. Still, unanswered questions linger like echoes she can't quite silence. Every night, she checks the locks twice. Every morning, she opens the blinds to let light pour in. She tells herself she's safe, that it's over. But sometimes, when the wind presses against the window panes, she still feels watched. One gray afternoon, a package arrives. Small, unmarked, resting on her porch like a whisper from another life. No return address. No sound from the street. Just her name in neat black ink, Clara Wills. Her hands tremble as she carries it inside. She sets it on the kitchen counter, staring at it for a long moment before cutting it open. Inside, wrapped in brown paper, is the missing wedding photo. The same one that vanished the night Mark disappeared. Her breath catches. The photo is clean, not torn or water-stained, edges newly pressed. But there's something different. Mark is gone from the picture. The space beside her is empty, as if he never existed. Tucked beneath the frame is a small note. You're safe now. The handwriting doesn't match Mark's. She reads it again, and again, her pulse rising. The message is calm, almost gentle, but it leaves her with more questions than peace. Who sent it? Elena's mother? A detective? Someone else entirely? For a moment, her chest tightens with old fear, but then she exhales slowly and looks around her kitchen. The new curtains, the quiet hum of the refrigerator, the sunlight sliding across the tiles. This is her house now. Clara takes the photo into the living room. The wall above the fireplace waits empty where it once hung. She sets the frame on the mantel, studies her own face inside it, the half-smile, the hopeful eyes frozen in time, and makes a decision. She opens the frame, removes the photograph and cuts it cleanly down the center. The half with Mark goes into a drawer, the half with her, alone. She slides into a new frame, then she hangs it back on the wall. It feels lighter there. Later, sitting on the couch, she murmurs softly to the empty room, I may never know who saved me, but I know who I am now. Her voice doesn't shake. The lamp in the corner glows softly, casting long, golden light over the walls. For the first time, she lets herself lean back, shoes off, a cup of tea cooling beside her. The clock ticks. The world hums, and for once, the silence feels like a friend. Outside, the wind moves gently through the trees. The moon lifts itself above the hill, silvering the windows with its calm light. Then, just as she closes her eyes, a faint shadow passes across the window pane. A movement, small, deliberate, watching. But this time, Clara doesn't flinch. She keeps her gaze steady, her breathing even. The shadow lingers for a heartbeat, then fades. The lamp stays on. And in the quiet house, peace finally settles. Not perfect, not complete, but real. If this story gave you chills, hit subscribe for more true-to-life tales of courage, betrayal, and justice. What would you have done if your cleaner called with that message?